So about 2 months ago, they reached out to me and they asked me to review them. So I told them, I said, if you want me to do this, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to be honest. And they said, we're here for it. So that's what we're going to do today. Hey guys, Everett Christopher here, aka Photo Loco. I wanted to say thank you for joining and checking me out. I am a Austin-based portrait photographer, but I have shot almost everything from weddings all the way up to glamour and boudoir. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you see, and if you do, please consider subscribing and liking and clicking the bell. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is Retouch4Me. They came on the scene, I want to say within the last 2 or 3 years. I purchased their heel and their Dodge and burn plugin right out of the gate because I was impressed with what I saw. So about 2 months ago, they reached out to me and they asked me to review them. They also provided me a link that will allow you guys to get a discount on their software. Now, that essentially is a sponsorship, right? So then the question is, can I review them objectively? So I told them, I said, if you want me to do this, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to be honest. And they said, we're here for it. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you first what I think it's really good at and what you can use it for and what I have used it for to save me an overwhelming amount of time. And then I'm going to show you what they need to work on and things I think that they could tweak. Okay, so I don't believe I would necessarily use it for creative application. If I'm talking about headshots though, which is more about a service and running a business and providing a deliverable to a person. You're basically creating a product for them. Then this is amazing because your workflow almost vanishes. Retouching that you would normally do now is done in seconds, and your turnaround times will improve and you can do more. From a workflow perspective, with regards to headshots, it's a godsend because I don't really consider my headshot work creative. So let's get started and I'll show you what I mean. So what we have here is a headshot, and let me go ahead and duplicate the background a couple of times. Okay, and so we'll go up to filter. We have our Retouch Me at the very bottom here. And I have a variety of things. Like I said, we're going to talk about heal and dodge and burn. So let's run heal first. Well, before we run it, let's examine what we're looking at. We have an individual that has some blemishes on her face, and we can see them down here in the chin area, a couple on the cheek, and in the forehead. Okay, so let's run Retouch4Me heal. Let's start with that. That should take care of the blemishes. Okay, and so what we have here is a Retouch4Me heal window. This is where you can adjust the sensitivity. You can adjust the size of the photo. So for example, in this case, we have options for close-ups, half length, and full length. So this is a half length. So I think half length portrait works here. We can choose make mask. What this will do is create a layer showing you the small blotches that they create to cover up the blemishes. We'll see that in just a second. And then over here, we have a couple of tools, brush tools, eraser, invert mask. Okay, so let's zoom in here and we can just see a before and after. So before we have this, and after we have that. Before and after. Now we have our sensitivity bumped up all the way, but you can see here it didn't remove. It really just focused on what it perceived as blemishes. So these areas right here, it didn't grab. If I were to retouch this manually, this is something that I would probably edit out. And again, this is all at the customer's requests, right? That's the other thing with a creative photo and a creative application, there is artistic license and you can take it as far as you want. With a headshot, it depends on what the customer wants. So if they request this to be removed, then I would go ahead and do that. So this might be an area where Retouch4Me thinks about adding more sensitivity, or maybe adding a separate section for things like chin and skin folds. But from a blemish perspective, this is amazing. And don't forget, this is being done in seconds. Now, one thing it did here, as you may notice, is she had a nose stud and the software detected it as a blemish and removed it. So maybe another opportunity for Retouch4Me to ratchet up the intelligence there. That's easily restored by doing a mask, and you can restore it, so that's not a huge deal. So anyway, let's click apply. I'll stop talking so much. Let's click apply. And we won't do the make mask. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do it, and I'll show you exactly what it is. So let's turn off these layers. And this is basically what it's doing here. It's detecting the blemishes and then basically using a brush and kind of dabbing the blemishes away. And you can see it's not a uniform color. There's variance in there. So the intelligence, the artificial intelligence, is detecting around the blemish, is detecting the tone and the small skin variations, and then applying it here. See, so that is incredible. There isn't anything else on the market that does this. Even Adobe's own intelligence is nothing like this. This is a game changer. Okay, so let's move on to dodge and burn, though. We haven't even done that yet. This is just heal. So let's do dodge and burn. Actually, let me stamp my layers there and filter, retouch4me, dodge and burn. Okay, and we're going to go to the half-length portrait, and let's zoom in. Let's do a little more analysis here, and we'll zoom in. And look at that. So that's before, and that's after. You know, it's pretty funny. These things sometimes only become evident to you after you've done the retouching, or in this case, run the plugin. But yeah, look at that. That's incredible. So there's areas down here. There is areas up here. Let's move this over. Right here. And it evened all that out. It removed those dark areas. Now this has a sensitivity, in this case, a blend option as well. So you can see the degree to which it changes, you know, the more you pump it up. This is to taste, so this is up to you. But I think let's go 170. Okay, so we'll click apply, and there you have it. So let's do it before and after. Let me remove this stuff real quick. So this before and after, that is before. Okay, we got blemishes, we got tonal issues, and after. And like I said, that stud, all we have to do is create a layer mask, go to a black brush, and we can reveal that stud. There we go. Okay, so that is amazing. Let's move on. Let's take another example here. So we have this headshot, and we'll go ahead and do the same procedure. Filter, retouch4me. We'll do heal. There's not a lot for it to heal, I don't think, but we'll see what it detected. Yeah, so look at that. So all those little small marks here. Okay, so it has that covered up. We'll go ahead and click apply. So we'll go ahead and stamp visible, and now we'll move on to filter, retouch4me, and heal, or sorry, dodge and burn. This individual already has a very youthful look, but we'll see what the dodge and burn does. And so it really evens everything out. Let's bring it down to 100, and I think that would work. And I'll tell you what, let's turn on the soft light layer so you guys can see exactly what it's doing. I'll click apply. This is what it's doing. In seconds, it went through the same way you would with a 50% gray layer. In fact, that's exactly what this is. It's a 50% gray layer, and then what you do with traditional dodge and burn is switch to black to burn and white to dodge. And so that's what this is reproducing. All right, so let's move this to soft light so we can see the before and after. So game changer. That's beautiful. Okay. Now let's take a look at one where this is more of a beauty portrait, and this is where I would exercise myself creatively. But let's see what retouch4me shows. So we'll run through the same procedure. Filter, retouch4me, heal. Okay, retouch4me, dodge and burn. Okay, soft light. There we go. There's the before and after. So just a subtle change, nothing too drastic. I'll tell you what, let's do a more aggressive dodge and burn. So we'll go to filter, Retouch4Me, dodge and burn, and we'll pump this up after it does its analysis thing. We'll bring it all the way to the 200 mark there. Okay. Click apply, and we'll do a soft light. And by the way, if you turn off soft light, all it does, I'll show you real quick. Let's go back to what it's actually doing. The soft light, obviously, like I said, shows you that 50% gray layer. If you don't have that turned on, it just applies the change to the current layer. If we do this, we don't get the soft light layer, just applies it, as you can see. So again, before and after. Now, I want to show you the difference between this and a manual retouch that I did on the same photo. Let's start with Retouch4Me's version. Okay, so this is Retouch4Me. Okay, and then we have my retouch. So the difference is this area here is not even. It's a little bright because of just the quality of her skin and the way the light was reflecting. And so when I did my retouch, I evened that area out a little more to make this area more uniform. I also did some frequency separation to take care of blemishes. And overall, it's a more even result. This is amazing from an AI perspective, but I think from a creative point of view, I would still want to do a manual retouch because I have that amount of control. In fact, one way someone could go is to start by using Retouch4Me first and then moving forward with their own retouching. So it's a combination of AI and human interaction, right? But like I said, for creative application, the complete picture, it's still something that I would want to retain control because Retouch4Me, in my opinion, isn't there just yet. What I anticipate in the future for Retouch4Me is when someone does a filter and they go to Retouch4Me and they do dodge and burn, perhaps there is two different modes that the user can choose. Is this a standard headshot portrait, or is this a creative application? And perhaps more fine-tuned controls where you can control certain area of the skin and make it even more uniform. And perhaps even one that adds texture back, because one thing that happens with retouching, regardless of whether you're doing frequency separation or using this product, is there is an overall softness that occurs, and sometimes texture, there can be a perception that texture has been removed. So perhaps another plugin they could work on was re-adding texture to the face. So a great result, but yeah, and by the way, this may suffice for some people, right? Some people that just hate retouching altogether, this may be completely fine. But for someone who's like me, who's kind of a geek, and I just love retouching anyway, and I just want that creative control, right now it's going to be manual control. Here's another example. So we'll zoom in, and obviously we have a number of issues here. We got forehead lines, we have blemishes, we have tonal issues throughout. We got all sorts of different tones, like a reddish tone right here. We got bright spots, and then yellowish and orangish. So yeah, just all over the map. So let's see what we can do. Filter, Retouch4Me, and we'll heal it first to get rid of these blemishes. So it gets rid of the blemishes, and that's amazing. One thing, we don't have the forehead lines that are removed. Now, that's not necessarily a blemish, and the same with these folds right here. So, to be fair, the AI is not detecting them as blemishes, but forehead lines, in many cases, especially with headshots, clients ask them to be removed. So that might be something that they could put in here, like also remove forehead lines or dark areas under the eyes, that kind of thing. But I'm kind of thinking ahead here. So anyway, but this is great. So let's click apply. Okay, and then we're going to run the dodge and burn. And we'll make sure we're on a close-up portrait. And let's zoom in here. And let's bring this to 100 and see the difference. So yeah, that's incredible. Look at that. If you want the really soft look and an more even skin tone across, that's incredible. So let's click apply. Okay. Now let's take a look at, again, this is another example that I've done my own retouching on this, and we'll compare and contrast here. Okay, so this is Retouch4Me, which is beautiful. And then this is mine. So just a little more even on the folds. I attempted to reduce them even further. I got rid of the forehead lines. And so that's the difference, right? And again, it's just about creative control. In fact, there may be some people that don't like this version. This is more of a personal aesthetic that I liked. And there's obviously other things going on here. I have some adjustment layers. I darkened the areas around her face to bring attention to her face a little more. So that's certainly something that I could do here. But I'm looking at this as merely from a retouching standpoint, blemish removal and skin tone consistency. So again, to each their own. Personally, for me, on the creative side, I think it needs a little more fine tuning. And I foresee that. I foresee that in the future for Retouch4Me, because they're obviously a very talented group of engineers that have built this. Or maybe it's just the one person. I think it's the guy named Oleg that I see on the website. But either way, a great start, a great product, and a great price to start with. And now you have a better price. You can get this for at least 20% off. There's going to be some times where they actually have this for 30% off using the same code. But the point is retain the code, get on their site and grab this product if you want to add it to your workflow and if you want to save time. It's a game changer. There's nothing else like it on the market right now. It has saved me countless hours of work for my headshot business. So I cannot recommend this enough. I would say, in fact, that if you don't get this, you're going to be left behind if you're a headshot photographer, because headshot photographers all over the place are going to be using this. I think if I were to put this into like a 5-star type review, then I would give it 5 stars. But again, nothing else like it. It is the tip of the spear as far as this whole AI movement is concerned when it comes to Photoshop. Like I said before, even Photoshop's neural filters that they have don't even compare to this. So thank you to Retouch4Me, and I thank you to you for sticking in with me here during this review. I hope it helped. And again, if you liked what you saw, please like the video, subscribe, and click that bell, and we'll see you next time.